the way the anthems were sung here by the crowd at Central Park. This, of course, a Group 1 fixture, and here is the England side with Chris Radlinski at fullback, Jason Robinson and John Bentley on the flanks, Nick Pinkney and Paul Newlove in the centre. The new half-back pairing of Tony Smith and Bobby Goulding, and a pack with Paul Broadbent from Sheffield and Lee Jackson also from Sheffield there as well. Now on the Fiji side, look out for Naya Kakulu, the standoff half. And look out as well for that man number 12. It's pronounced Tonga, and at Keighley on Sunday he became an absolute folk hero in the town. He kept collecting the ball from kickoffs, running straight at the opposition, and 4 of them had to go to hospital.
Well, they've already named him Tonka Toy, so if he does as much damage as what he did to the South Africans at Keighley, there's going to be 1 or 2 problems, because last night at Gateshead there were black eyes in every single player of the South African team, so you can tell how much damage this guy caused.
There's Leon Langelange from the Penrith Panthers club, along with Denis Betts, leading England for the first time in his career tonight, with Shaun Edwards being on the bench this evening. Along with Leeds' Paul Cook there for the first time, Simon Horton and Steve McCurry. These Fijians will not be overawed. We've heard Graham Merry, their Australian coach, saying just how excited they are about playing here at Central Park in front of a big audience, and they really are out to impress this evening.
Well, I think what you'll get it with the Fijian side is that they've got a lot of ability, they've got a lot of ball control, and there's some big lads amongst them. They'll not be overawed with this. As a matter of fact, this might be just a little G up they need, because this is a massive crowd, and really I think they'll go out there and enjoy this. Just looking through the crowd, John, we've got people with guitars, we've got people with drums, and really this is a magnificent occasion.
Absolutely right, Alex. I think it's been an excellent World Cup so far, full of, it's had everything, hasn't it? Different things. Last night we saw a superb Australian performance. OK, the South African Rhinos were a bit of a walkover. They're novices at the game, but even so, the Australians still had to put on a superb performance to run in 86 points.
Well, I've got to be honest, the Australians are back on track, but I will say one nice thing about the South Africans. They were in this competition for a learning process, and I think last night they had a big lesson in what they have to achieve to get to the top of the ladder. They played Australia last night, who were a little bit sulking after the performance at Wembley, but they turned out last night with a magnificent, actually a magnificent performance.
Here we have the tribal dancers from Fiji. That's why how they won the fans over at Keighley. They got them right on their side on Sunday with all this showmanship before the kick-off. Look at this, watch this.
There's one good thing about this though, John. I don't think they'll worry the Wigan supporters. As a matter of fact, I think 1 or 2 of these Wigan supporters do this every week.
In the pub. I tell you, it's not worrying the England lads either. They're not watching. They're in a little huddle. They're in a circle, and they're here saying, we're not going to look at this.
It's a good job Chris Eubank's not watching this. Is this the witch doctor? Is this the fella who puts him to sleep? If he's watching this, we've got big problems.
I'm glad he's not playing that one. You're going to enjoy Fiji this evening, I'm sure. Just as the crowd at Warrington enjoyed Tonga the other night and Papua New Guinea last night at the Boulevard.
That's right, there's some fine specimens of fellas amongst these, and there's some really big men. You can tell what the crowd feel about that. Look at this, it's a magnificent crowd. I don't need to tell you how much they're looking forward to this game.
Well, let's see England do that.
Match officials for this Halifax Rugby League Centenary World Cup tie.
Well, the referee tonight is Dennis Hale from New Zealand.
Touch judges, Mr. Bill Brooks and Mr. Neil
We're competing with the tannoy system as usual here. Decibels have increased immensely over the last few days.
Well, we must apologise because I think you can hear it in this in London, because it's very, very difficult. It sounds as though he's right at the back of our commentary position, and he's very, very loud indeed.
Exclusively designed by Tiffany & Co.
Right, let's have the kick-off. And just again a look at that England side. Phil Lauder making half a dozen changes, bringing Nick Pinkney of Keighley into the centre, and Tony Smith and Bobby Goulding at half-back. Daryl Powell is injured, but he and Shaun Edwards are trifle disappointing at Wembley, and there are chances for Paul Broadbent and Dean Sampson at prop forward this evening. Carl Harrison getting a rest, and Andy Platt getting a rest as well, and Mick Cassidy, a Wigan lad, coming into the second row. So this is it. This is the night they've all been waiting for in Wigan. There isn't another town that enjoys rugby league more than Wigan. And it is a tribute, as Alex Murphy said at the beginning, to the people of Wigan, that they've come out in their droves on a quite glorious evening. Graham West, I'm sure, in the studio is quite envious.
Yes, it's a magnificent night anyway for the Fijians and for the people of Wigan. They love the rugby league, but there's one important factor on this field. As soon as these lads get on the field, they've got to prove a point.
And the chance of a break straight away, the ball in the hands of Pinckney, who scored so many tries last season for Keighley, and he's just continued in the same vein. 7 so far this season. It's a big night for him. And a little half break made there by Tony Smith. That'll do him no harm. His first touch in international rugby. There's Bobby Goulding, the high kick. And it's going to put pressure straight away on the fullback, and a very good take indeed by Savatabua. But he's had to be carried back over his own line, which means the Fijians will drop out from under the sticks.
But it wasn't only a good take, it was also a good kick by Bobby Goulding. Savatabua just kept his eye on the ball. This is a magnificent take, but just look at the chase from England. Young Tony Smith, that'll do him a power of good, and Jackson.
So early pressure from England here at Central Park. England, I think we were so lifted by that victory over the Kangaroos at Wembley. They want to see him follow up with a good performance here tonight. And this is Radlinski in front of his own fans.
Well, I think what an introduction he's had to international football. This kid is surely one of the stars of the future. And there's 1 or 2 lads playing here tonight. Young Smith, Bobby Goulding, Samson. They've all got to earn the spurs tonight, and they'll want to have big games.
Samson offloads it in the tackle. Chances here for England. They'd love to get the first score, I know, because that might just deflate the Fijians a little bit. They were never behind, obviously, against South Africa at Keighley on Sunday. Smith gives it. Farrell's involved in the line. Newlove just holds on, still goes. Radlinski cuts inside. Radlinski goes, touches the ball down, punches the air, waits for the referee. He gives the try. Chris Radlinski, in his second appearance for England on his home ground, gets England on the scoreboard. Just the impact he wanted to make at the start.
That is not only a great start for the club. I mean, we've got a big problem with the Tannoy system here, but that's a magnificent try from this young boy. Young Radlinski, he's a great prospect. A little bit of juggling from Paul Newlove, but he holds the ball, gives it to the man who matters, and the Wigan public really like this one. What a good try. I think the kid really learned. I think he appreciates that as well. But look at Farrell again, involved in this. Newlove, a little bit of a juddle, but he's such a strong boy, this. Turns out of the tackle. Radlinski inside, likes this. This is for you, lads. How do you like that?
Actually, you could see the look on his face there, though. He was worried that the referee and touch judge weren't going to allow this,
I don't think there's any doubt about it. It was a try. He was just over the line, and anywhere near the line or on the line is a try.
Andy Farrell kicked a couple of goals, one absolute blooter from the touchline at Wembley.
This is a superstar, isn't he?
This fella's going to be a big name. If he gets the exposure, that's sometimes what doesn't happen in rugby league, as it should. Unlike some other games we could name. He kicks it high. He kicks it straight, and that's a superb angle kick and a real morale booster for England. Andrew Farrell of Wigan tacks on the goal to go with Chris Radlinski's try. 3 minutes played, England 6, Fiji 0.
I think you'll just have to excuse it a bit with we stop a little bit, because if this is the ball again with Paul Newlove. A beautiful ball. He's such a strong boy, this Paul Newlove. Radlinski, not a good cover there coming from Fiji, but he's a strong kid and does what's necessary.
That's a good angle to show you the try from. So play restarts from the boot of Naikakalu.
And I think really, John, that's the start that England needed. That was that should do the confidence a world of good. Yeah. They needed to get off to a good start, because we can't afford Fiji to come back in this game, because these fellas will not give up.
Oh no, they can play, and if they get their tails up, they can be unstoppable. But Phil Larder will be very pleased with that start. Here goes Billy Whiz. Jason Robinson. Oh, he's a little bulldog. Ooh, that arm was swinging, surely.
Yes, he's a little bit high, that. But you don't need to tell the Wigan lads, do you? The Wigan supporters know him. They see him that often that they dream about him.
Penalty given to England by Mr. Hale. We've seen some fantastic rugby over the last 5, I think it's day 5, isn't it, this? I mean, Wembley was a great occasion. The Tongan performance in New Zealand was wonderful at Warrington on Sunday. We saw the Australians last night in mesmerising mood And now it's an entirely different kettle of fish this evening with England here against Fiji, and England running well.
And I think he's got him for offside, Denis Hale. Right under the sticks. I think the Fijians just a little bit too anxious. Right under the sticks, and I'm almost sure this has got to be another 2 points.
Yeah, just for a moment it looked as though Lee Jackson wanted to run it, but Andrew Farrell takes the sensible option, plants the ball down in front of the sticks and says, I'll have 2 points for this, please.
Well, it's very, very important, not only to England to win this, but to give the lads a game. The most important thing is for England to qualify, and whoever they get in the semi-final really doesn't matter. It then becomes a game-for-game situation, and the way England are playing, if they've got to keep the cool, they can go a long way in this competition.
This to make it 8-0. And we saw the Australians rattle up a point a minute last night. That takes some doing in any professional sport. It was a record score, of course, for them.
Well, make no bones about it, they are definitely back on track.
It's a very different Australian side to the one we saw at Wembley. Anyway, here we are at Wigan with one of the local heroes, Andrew Farrell, taking the opportunity to boot England 8 points clear. And why not? Great start for Phil Larder's side. Just what was wanted. That's really going to settle them down. Well, England 8, Fiji 0.
I think England have started off with a very, very positive attitude. I think they've moved well with the ball. They've angled the ball. They've no mistakes. They've not lost possession in any shape or form. The young boys have all had a touch. So really, that should stand them in good stead.
Denis Betts wants to captain the side to victory tonight. First time he's led them, of course.
For me, Mr. Perfect. This guy he's a cool guy and he's a great player.
Good catch by Goulding. There's Dean Sampson. Cassidy who took it in there. And that's Paul Broadbent from Sheffield. Lee Jackson, his colleague there. Stands up well in the tackle as always, Betts. Jackson is acting half back. Along the line for Sampson this time. Dean Sampson, a bit of a late developer in the game. His dad Dave was a useful player and coach, of course. It's Cassidy in the scrum cap.
Well, I think young Sampson's been playing football for a long, long time, and really he's now getting his chance. He was in Australia for 9 months, so that'll have done him world of good as well.
What a good catch that was. It was like plucking the fly out of the air, was that one, wasn't it, for the full-backs of a taboo. It's the first time Fiji have had a chance to run with the ball, to be fair.
Yes, so one good thing we'll say about Fiji, it just depends how they angle the ball. And I was just going to say, to play the 6 tackles in this game is very, very important, because there'll be a lot of nerves out there. They'll have never played in front of a crowd like this.
No, that was very, very lax. Now Robinson dances inside off his left foot, gets it away for Jackson. England will want to keep it alive. We often talk about Fiji keeping the ball alive. The whistle has sounded. But England have the capability of doing exactly the same thing.
And I think that was a little bit of complacency on part of England, a forward pass. I think the nice thing about this is how young people like young Pinkney and Smith settled into this game. It's the first international. They'll want to impress.
Yeah. Pinkney had one run out last year and he scored on it. He's a useful player. He didn't play at Wembley, of course, but it is Smith's international debut. Penalty awarded to Fiji this time.
And Denis Hale, he's one of the world-class referees. He's a very, very good referee indeed, Denis Hale.
Yeah, puffing and blowing a bit in the early stages. Now Naya Kakalu to try and find touch, and that he does with consummate ease.
Well, that's another one for the Dougie.
It's almost landed in the television gantry. I hope Ray French was ducking at the time.
Well, if French had to catch that, I'm afraid it'll be a no-hope job.
Sangatu on to Kaunivalu, who plays for the wonderfully named Lautoka Foodtown Eagles.
Oh, dear.
Oh, there's better to come than that, Alex, I'll tell you. Here he goes, the hooker, Sangatu. First name Ian, by the way, if you want to call him by his first name.
Well, I was told by the coach of Fiji just to call them Tom, Jim, Jack and Joe, because that's what he calls them, because he can't do the names either.
Dead right. Now they've got an opening. They'd love a score, and they can pass the ball long. They can trade the passes. This is Dakwitonga, although he wears 2, he plays on the left wing. They're very eager, and they're just finding the feet, and Naya Kakalu looking for a gap. If they get one try, they'll feel they can get a few. And there's the fullback, Savatabua. He scored 2 tries at Keighley on Sunday. He got the first one, in fact. And another in the second half, a little kick through, and it'll be gathered behind his own line by Radlinski. But Marayawa was charging in to make sure he didn't get any further, along with Kumbuai. And England will drop out from behind their own line.
And that was good play by Fiji. They kept the ball alive here, and this is tremendous pressure. A lovely little chip by the fullback. He pushed the ball through. Good support play. Radlinski's a big, strong lad, and this is a great tackling, great support play, and put Radlinski down in the in-goal area.
Well, they made mincemeat of the South Africans in the second half on Sunday, showing there's nothing wrong with their fitness.
Well, I must say this, John, I think England will have to have all the wits about them tonight, because these look a very, very exciting side. They keep the ball alive, they support the man with the ball, and they do the unexpected.
They're very capable. That was Kaunivalu charging in there, and here again goes the hooker Sangatu. He's made a promising start to the night, and they're in good shape here. Fiji applying pressure on that England line, and here's the centre. He's got a burst of pace. Filimoni Seru. He plays for South Queensland Crushers, and there's only 3 of this team who haven't played in Australia.
I think if you're looking at Fiji, John, if you just sharpen the tackling up and sharpen the play of the balls up, these could be a very, very good side. Tremendous ball skills.
And another kick through. This time Radlinski is able to run it out from behind his own line. And there's this big fella, Tonga. And Tonga's the one who kept putting people down and into hospital on Sunday.
Well, not only did he put him down, I think he went a little bit over the top there, but what a take by Radlinski. It was a tremendous take from behind the post. He picked the ball one hand and carried on playing. This kid's got, tremendous potential.
Well, they're a bit ferocious, one or two of these Fijians.
Well,
they don't necessarily do everything legally, but here we go.
Jason Robinson, you know, like I said, there's not just one in there, there's 4 of them. And I think Mr. Early will have to sort that out very quickly.
Lee Jackson, he's got to make yardage tonight, and that he does, and he flings out a good pass, which is accepted on his toes by Goulding. It really whipped it off his bootlaces.
I think what we need tonight, John, actually, is we've got to run through the gaps. We've not got to panic, and we've got to run with the ball.
Farrell, he tries to run through a brick wall.
He's a great player, this lad. He's matured so much in 18 months, you know. He's only 19, 20 years of age.
Oh,
so what has he got in front of him?
Well, it's gathered in the end by Radlinski. Oh, they nearly took New Look shorts off him then. Wanted him as a prized possession to take back home for a sportsman's dinner, maybe.
There's our mate, Mr. Toga.
Yeah. Off it goes from Goulding again. They're going to put pressure on Savatabua, that's for sure. And it eventually comes down into the hands of Marayawa, who plays for Tumbarumba.
Tumbarumba, and one thing about it, I think when we do put them kicks up, we've got to put pressure on the kicker. It's very, very important, because the ball can spill anywhere, and from that, tries can be scored.
But at the moment, it's England leading Fiji here at Central Park by 8 points to 0. A try from Chris Radlinski. Terrific for him. 2 minutes into his second match for England, and at Wigan as well. And a couple of goals from Andrew Farrell. But Fiji in possession and showing promise. There's an angle kick. It might get to the line. It'll cross over. It's there. And it'll be a scrum down with an England put in, but a very useful kick from this hooker Sangatu.
Well, Sangatu, I mean, just imagine, people say anybody can kick a ball in there. Sangatu, he's a number 9, he's a hooker, but just look at this. It might have been Rob Andrews kicking that ball. That is a magnificent kick in anybody's book.
Yeah, there's a misprint in the programme. They've called him Fangatu.
Well,
got a few fangs missing. Bobby Goulding's put into the scrum. Out it comes for England. They'll try and utilise the pace of John Bentley as often as possible, because he just loves running with the ball.
Yes, and I think you can just imagine what would have been going on here tonight if they'd have had the likes of Martin Afire and Gary Connolly playing in this side, because, you know, they also are Wigan players, and this crowd obviously know what great players they are, and I think England will miss 2 players like that tonight.
There are 2 Wiganers on the bench, Shaun Edwards and Simon Horton. But yeah, that's a good point, really, Alex, that Phil Lauder still has Martin Afire and Gary Connolly to come, should he want to use them.
Well, I think young Samson there, he just took his eye off the ball. I think he's trying to that can happen, John. It's one of these things where you just run a little bit hard, take your eye off the ball, just caught him a little bit high up, but you've got to check them in this game.
It came off his shoulder pad, didn't it? It's Fiji's ball. And well, rather lackadaisical again. It was ambitious. He lobbed the ball over the top of his own man. Picked up by Newler. Breaks away. Still he goes. He's immensely powerful, this Bradford Bulls centre. And his coach, Brian Smith, watching tonight, will have enjoyed the sight of that. Although he's resigned to losing him. Newler wants away from Onsell.
I think what we've got to say about Newlove is seeing him getting some running chances, because he never got too many at Wembley, and he's a great sender when he's going strong and when he's going straight.
He scored with the one chance he did have now. Bentley, he can get in from here, but 4 Fijians converging on him. So it's Jackson, it's Goulding, it's the long kick, and it's angled towards that right touchline. A good catch here, and Chris Radlinski whips it back. Jason Robinson, he goes over. England on the scoreboard again. What a kick from Bobby Goulding. What a catch, what a try.
Well, what you've got to say, what does rugby league have to do to become a world-class sport? This is what it has to do. This is great, great football. A magnificent kick from Bobby Goulding. It went high, it hung in the air. Jason Robinson was on the end of it. But what made the try was the actual take. It was a magnificent kick. The take itself from Bobby Goulding angles the kick across the field. Now just watch across here. Young Radlinski takes this as though he's just going on a Sunday afternoon stroll. Jason Robinson, great support play, and makes the angle a lot easier. That is a magnificent try.
It's the Wigan connection.
Well, it's not only that. I mean, let's give Bobby Goulding a little bit of praise here. That was a great kick from him as well. But Radlinski, what a take. This is a magnificent take. Hey up, this is mine. Here, Jason, just finish it off. That's great play. And obviously, it's things they practice in training, and when it comes off, it looks very, very well indeed.
It certainly does, Alex. 12 points to 0 is the England lead. And all the points have come from Wigan players so far. They know every inch of this ground, every blade of grass. And if this goes over, it'll be 14 points for Wigan and England. But Bobby Goulding, you were right, certainly played his part in that. That was a terrific bomb kick. Farrell steps up and hoops it through the middle, and this fella's getting very, very close now to being the fastest centurion in rugby league history. He's getting closer and closer to 100 goals for the season.
Well, he's not just a great player. I mean, he's a great goal kicker. I mean, let's be honest, this fella, just look at the side, try inside again. Jason Robinson, great support play. He's got magical balance, this fella. You know, he gets up off the floor, he takes it round to a kicking position. Young Farrell is a player, when people said here, are we going to miss Fran Obotica? Now, Fran Obotica's a world-class player, and this kid has more or less took his mantle, and nobody's ever noticed. That's the try again. That's Jason Robinson just finishing it off.
Yeah, that's absolutely right about Andrew Farrell. Well, Fran Obotica was a folk hero here just 12 months ago, wasn't he? You couldn't have imagined him not being in the Wigan side.
No, but Fran Obotica, he's a great player. But like I say, for a kid to rise so quickly like this lad has done, and he's such a nice lad, and that's the nice thing about it. The game's about youth.
Oh, sloppy ball from Jackson, but Broadbent picked it up. And now here he is, Farrell. Comes a cropper under Nyakakalu's tackle. Jackson. Oh, Denis Betts, one of those storming runs that they've seen so many times here at Central Park. He may be plying his trade these days with Auckland Warriors, but I bet he's enjoying coming back to Central Park tonight. And England will have scoring chances again. Newler fends them away. And in the end, he held on. I thought he was going to slip the ball for Tony Smith. He held on, and now it's Bobby Goulding. A little angle kick through here. That's a tricky one too. Oh, brilliantly picked up by the wingman Nadruku. And then the fullback, Sovatabu, tries to run it out.
I think that's what we've got to do. We've got to vary the play, and people like Bobby Goulding, the short chip, the high ball, the inside ball, the little drop-off, that's what we've got to do, because that's what this game's all about, and I think that's what Fiji will not expect. I think they'll expect the basic things to come, but they'll not expect little things we do different.
Well, Phil Larder will be hoping that Bobby Goulding gives him a selection problem tonight. I mean, he's one of those in the bidding for a place in the future matches in this World Cup.
Yes, and it's also nice to have the choice. I mean, Shaun Edwards, a world-class player. We've got him sat on the bench. Bobby Goulding, a world-class player.
Nyakakalu's kick. Lovely take by Radlinski. He's not put a foot wrong tonight. He only missed one kick really at Wembley, which was costly on Saturday, but his confidence is soaring by the minute.
Yes, but when you think that was his first international at Wembley and the kid missed one, have a look at these. Safe as the House of Parliament. A tremendous take. The kid knows what he's doing. He's a big lad, and he keeps his eye on the ball. This fella can only go better, and this has got to be for the good of English rugby.
19 years of age. Got a hat-trick in the Premiership final, of course, last year against Leeds, Chris Radlinski. Anyway, they'll pop this one into the scrum with the Fijians, and they'll come hunting their first points. But England have got 14 on the board in the first 20 minutes. Now it's Fiji's turn to attack. And believe you me, they can attack well.
Yes, I think that's what we mustn't get. We mustn't get complacency in this game, because one thing these fellas can do, they love running with the ball and they love supporting the man with the ball.
They love to keep it alive, and that's what they're seeking to do now. And here goes Savatabua. Back from Seru. Plunging towards the line, he's just lost grasp of it, and it allows Farrell to bring it out and get back over that try line.
Well, obviously, a try there would have been very, very important for Fiji, and it's important also that England not only play well, but they tackle well, because last night at Gateshead, although Australia were playing South Africa, that's what they did. They was determined to keep South Africa off the score sheet, and here again with Denis Betts. This fella's a great player. We're missing him in this game. When we lose players like him, it's bad for our game.
Dead right. We want the likes of him and Andy Platt playing in this country. Now England have got chances now. The ball is long, it is gathered by Bentley. He comes inside and he's going to run into a black and white wall, but he's a game trier. He's a real plucky character, John Bentley.
Well, I think he's given us a little bit of stability on the wings, because, you know, to take over from Martin Afire, it's a big job, and I think he's had two very, very good games, this lad.
Yes, he has. That was Cassidy to Robinson. Billy Whiz, they call him here. Well, here's Tony Smith, and he side puts, and Robinson is there in support again. The ball is going through the hands. It's coming left. Newlove will go for the line. He cuts inside. Still Newlove. Now it's John Bentley. Try number 3 for England. It's a beauty for Bentley.
Well, we talk about it. We did say if England kept the ball alive, and we did say that England can only get better. This is magnificent football. Lovely ball from Newlove. Brilliant ball to Bentley. But it's the way England are keeping this ball alive. It's tremendous football. People supporting the man with the ball. And what are we doing? We're breaking from midfield. This is what we didn't do at Wembley. A lovely break from Tony Smith. Billy Whiz in support here, keeps the ball alive. This is tremendous football. I think young Broadhurst, who's a little bit out there, Paul Newlove, this is what we need. Class, he looks inside, he draws the men outside, and John Bentley, the simplest of tacts. He cannot believe he's got so much space and so much time.
Paul Newlove was a critical intervention in here. They don't know how to handle him, do they?
Well, he can, because he's such a big lad, and not only that, he's got magnificent balance, and Bentley, like from this range, is absolutely lethal. This is a great start for England, and that's a great try.
His 9th of the season, John Bentley, the other 8 for Halifax. But he's got one for England, and that will mean a lot to him.
I think also, you know, you're going to have a problem whether you put Martin back in this side, because the kid's doing nothing wrong, is he?
No. He's not quite the Martin Afire of old.
Well, he's only about 15 yards behind him, but having said that, if there was a choice, you would put Martin in.
Andrew Farrell, tense. He's kicked one from this sort of angle. Oh, how unlucky.
Well, that's when you know when things are going right. I mean, this fella is such a competitor these days. But let's take nothing away from England. This is a great, great performance. They've got a magnificent start. They're playing some very, very attractive football, keeping the ball alive. Bentley, he cannot believe he's got all the time in the world to stroll in and put the ball down.
And as a result of that John Bentley score, it's England 18, Fiji 0.
I think the pattern of the play, John, is quite simple. Where Bobby Goulding is varying the play. He's running with the ball. He's running through the gaps, and we've got young Tony Smith on his first.
We'll look a lot sharper at half-back tonight.
Yeah, we certainly do. I mean, this is what we've needed, and this is what competition does.
Because these Fijians are not an easy sight to beat, I can tell you. Farrell again. He seems to be involved in just about everything at the moment. Having a good game again. He was man of the match, of course, at Wembley against the Aussies.
Yes, and there'll be one or two people like young Cassidy. He'll also want to have a big game tonight. There's a lot of places up for grabs here, you know, and who knows? Everybody wants to play against Australia if they get there.
Sampson taken down by Seru. Goulding. Well, they've made him gaps so far, but there's none there for Smith this time. Falls to the tackle of Langenlanger. Robinson. Oh, he got one in his right ear over there, didn't he? Really cuffed him.
There's one good thing about this. If one tackles you with these lads, There's another one somewhere about.
Oh, you know about it. That's a lovely kick, and it's just going to find touch. It doesn't matter, it's just. It finds touch from Bobby Goulding. He's having a good night.
Well, somebody said about Phil Laird that he wasn't quite sure about Bobby, but I'll tell you this, if he's not quite sure, he'll make him eat his word tonight. There's one good thing about this fella, he's a great competitor, and he only wants to win, and tonight, I think Bobby will prove a big point here.
That statistic tells you that Fiji are having all the defending to do, the fact they've made almost twice as many tackles as England. They'll have the ball out of this scrum, though, and their scrum half is Tanga. I was telling you about some of the clubs that they play for now. Saventa Tanga plays for the Fiji Fish Nadi Dragons.
Oh, well, I can say that.
Did you ever get an offer from them?
Well, they offered me, but it was only a short-term contract, and I had to refuse it.
Finds touch all right.
I think for the people who have got live TV, John, they must be really lapping these games up, because some of the atmosphere and the tackling is absolutely crunching, isn't it?
No, it's not just about try scoring, though we're obviously enjoying that.
Well, I think we should have a look at this one again, because this is one great tackle. I'll tell you what, he won't want two of these in a week. This is one big hit. It's a great tackle, and
he won't want to see it again.
Well, it's rugby league at its very, very best, isn't it? It's not only attacking rugby league, it's about defending and it's about entertaining, and this is what we're doing.
That's right. It's been a very entertaining match so far. The Fijians haven't got on the scoreboard as yet, but England aren't complaining about that. Away it goes then. Radlinski's in the line, so is Newlove, and Newlove always makes ground. Every time he's involved, they're struggling to contain him.
I think the thing about it, John, is the way he's making the ball available. Because he's such a big lad that if they don't put him to ground straight away, there's people running off him.
And he's switching positions craftily as well. They almost don't notice him. Cassidy. And they're up to that 22-metre line now, England. Goulding, he's very much the orchestrator tonight. Brilliant angled kick straight into Bentley's hands. And John Bentley is offside by a mile.
Ah, yes. Well, it was worth a go, John. You keep saying that you was right, you're onside, you can't believe you look, but having said that, I think 5 or 6 yards would have been a right description.
It's instinct to pick your ball up anyway, isn't it?
Well, I know that people sometimes are actually quick, but John got there actually before the ball did.
He was standing there waiting, saying thanks very much.
But it just shows you what Bobby Goulding does. He's very into play. Again, that was the kick on the forward tackle. That is the right thing to do. We've got to keep the Fijians guessing.
Well, they're guessing at the moment because they're a long way behind, 18 points in fact. And it's all shaping up nicely. Tomorrow we're back at Cardiff again just for another nice local game.
Yeah, it's just a nice local trip again down the motorway. It's I must say, and we don't normally give too much praise in the rugby world, but I think the people from Chapeltown Road must take a pat on the back. The people like Maurice Lindsay and one or two of the organisation for really getting this off the ground. There was a lot of criticism for the first game, but I think everybody's forgot about that and they're now supporting the event.
Now we'll see. Oh, now it's going to be picked up by Smith and lost by Smith as well. And, it was the big prop forward there, Malachi Kaunivalu, who made the charge.
And there is some big men amongst these fellas, I'll tell you. These
look at number 11 there.
I mean, the big men. I mean, the thing about it, what they've got to do is just quicken to play the balls up. And once they get into this game over the coming years, these are going to be a force to be reckoned with.
They are. Here's the other prop forward, Pio Kumbu. He plays for Yanko Wamoon. And Dengi, who's in possession now, plays for Parramatta. Now we've heard of them.
Yes, and I think what's happened is that some of these lads, they're not, they're not quite as fit as what they should be, but they certainly love running with the ball.
Short ball, and he's nearly there, isn't he? He's very close. It takes 3 men to halt him in his tracks. Very, very close to a try, Fiji. When they get this close to the English line, you can sense them getting in. And
I think that was a penalty, actually.
It is a penalty, yeah.
For a tackle, I think just one of the lads a little bit high, but it'll be interesting to see whether they're going to entertain or kick a goal.
Oh, I think they'll entertain. They won't go for goal, surely. They don't know any other way to play but to entertain. And Sangatu, it'll come off his boot. And it's that man, Kumbuai.
This also is good for England because this keeps you tackling, this keeps you alert, and that's what you want. The lads will want to keep a clean sheet.
He's in, no, he's nearly there, Sangatu. Again, that's that man, Kumbuai. Held up in Dean Sampson's tackle this time. Now they might spread it, and that huge figure of number 11, Api Dengi.
Yes, that's a good penalty as well. Not allowing him to pay the ball. He was dead right, Denis Hale. Paul Newell have just held him down for that split second. You've got to get away from the players and you've got to let them play the ball.
So they'll have another 6 tackles from here. And once more, it's County Valu. They're only 5-10 yards out.
I think whoever scores the first try, there must be a bar of goal at stake, because they're definitely moving this ball and everybody wants to score. I don't think they're advised to do that. I think they'd be much better moving the ball a little bit wider.
Yeah, because they've got the skills to do that. They want to fling it out and entertain the crowd. Now it'll move. Oh, straight into English hands.
I think he's offside.
That's another penalty, yeah.
This is interesting to see, because Bobby Goulding was actually stood behind his own line, and if he stood behind his own line, he cannot be offside.
No, that's right. But anyway, Mr. Hale decided it was offside.
There's only one gaffer, and that's him.
They've got to get a try soon if they keep hammering away at the English line like this. The ball is reversed inside. He's found the gap. Seru, he's a man who got 2 tries at the weekend, yeah. Oh, another penalty. The crowd are not enjoying this at all.
Well, that's 5 consecutive penalties from 2 yards out. But that was a magnificent tackle by Lee Jackson. A try-saving tackle.
Are they ever going to get in here? Kumbuai. He's 2 yards out. The hooker waits. Sanger 2. Now it's lofted to the fullback Sovabatu. Swung out right. Oh dear, that's not very good work from the Fijians. They're going around in circles. An English hand gets in, and England have withstood a lot of concerted pressure from Fiji.
But it's also Fiji's ball again, because it did touch an English man. So really, this is 24 actual tackles that Fiji have had the ball. Again, you can see it here. You can just see he does catch an English hand as he passes it back. He knocks it out of his hand, and as he knocks it back, I think it just catches John Bentley.
Well, I still say if they get 1 try, they'll really be lifted with this side. They're an inspirational sort of a team when they get on the roll. England conceded 8 penalties already, as you can see, and they've got some more tackling to do now. The left winger wants a run. This is Nadruku, and he's still going. Nadruku carving gaps in the England defence, and the crowd really warming to this performance now as Unalangalangi comes into it. Now Nadruku again. He's close to that line, and Nadruku, he's a big, powerful chap. He's played with Meninga and Stewart and Daly and Mullins at Canberra Raiders for a year or 2. And surely this pressure will pay off sooner or later, will it?
Well, I think what you've got to admire is the England tackling. I think it's to hold on, this is 30 actual tackles. Right. So that you've got to give some credit to England here.
Just the odd lapses letting Fiji down at the moment. Once again, Savatabua into the line. Cross it goes again to this second row man, Tonga, and Ili Tonga.
And that's a great tackle.
Here we go again into that corner. Seru, they've just held him up once again, tries to squeeze the ball away, does that successfully, keeps it alive, down he goes. It's the handover. Huge cheers around Central Park for brilliant English defence.
Well, not only brilliant, 36 actual tackles. Now that will please Phil Larden more than all the tries they've scored tonight. Not only can they score tries, they can stop tries, and do it with a little bit of pride. That's good defensive play from England.
Bentley. It's interesting that Newell and Bentley keep switching positions.
Well, the 2 big lads, and this is what I'm saying, if you've got big lads in your side, why not use them?
Let's see if they can use it or make an expansive game out of this situation.
I don't think a lot of people have realised how quick this game is. This is a tremendous pitch.
Robinson up the middle. Brilliant stuff from Robinson. What a magnificent run again from him. And it took a tackle from Apidengi to haul him down. And that's another penalty. They can't do that.
That might even be a sin bin, actually, because that is a professional foul. You've got to say, you've got to bring the yellow card out. I know they want to try and slow Billy Wiz down, but this is not only does he tries to undress him, never mind tackle him.
He's so exciting as a runner.
Well, look at this here. You've got to roll away.
12-year-old James
Sampson.
Go to the front door.
Good name for a rugby league player, Sampson, isn't it? Broadbent's made the charge here. What a brilliant run. Paul Broadbent, that's the try of a wingman, never mind a prop forward, and he's hauled off the ground by his teammates. That's a wonderful moment for Paul Broadbent, the Sheffield Eagles prop, and a wonderful moment for England, who now lead by 22 points to 0.
That it might be the try of the tournament. That's a magnificent try from the big man Paul Broadbent. That is, look at this. Anybody in the world would have been proud of this. Not only does he take the fullback on, he runs past him as though he wasn't there. What a great try. Well done, young man. That is a magnificent magnificent effort for a young man on his first cap. Does he go well with this ball? He knows where he's going to go. He's got all the confidence in the world to do what he has to do, and does it in style. Well done, young fella.
They call him Beans, and I think you've just seen 57 varieties of tries, and that's a magnificent effort.
Well, I think he'll remember that for the rest of his life. That was a great effort, and if he looks back in years to come and keeps showing that on the video, I don't think he'll ever tire of seeing it.
Absolutely. A winger would have been proud of that one. Anyway, Paul Broadbent on the score sheet. England are up to 22, and Andy Farrell has what looks a straightforward kick to make it 24. And Fijian heads might just go down a little after that. It's not often you see a galloping prop, is it, in full flight like that. They were bouncing off him. This to make it England 24, Fiji 0, and that's exactly what it is.
I think
the England try number 30, Andy Farrell.
I think what we've got to say is that is the modern day prop. When people say what the prop forwards have to play like, that's what they have to play like, and that's what they have to be able to do. Because not only do they have to push in the pack anymore, this is magnificent skills here. Takes the ball at pace, he's got a lovely little jink inside here. He's got 3 or 4 men to beat, he's got pace, he's got strength, he knows what to do, he's got the ball in the right hand, he goes round the full back. This is a full back with a lot of ability, you know, he's running round. That's a great try. That must be the try of the tournament so far.
The funny thing was there was nobody anywhere near him. There wasn't another England player. I think he took everybody by surprise, Paul Broadbent.
Well, I don't think Phil Ladd will worry about that. That was a great try, and all started, of course, from Jason Robinson, who made 50-yard break.
Yeah, you were making the point about prop forwards. Gone are the days where you had prop forwards who used to have 12 points after the match, aren't they?
Well, yes, I think this game is for fit young men, and obviously fit young men with ability, looking at that.
Punching holes through the middle of the Fijian defence. And here's this man Robinson. He's had an outstanding night so far.
I think what they don't expect, Fiji, is the way that England's taking the game to him.
Oh, he's going again. He really is superb tonight, Robinson. Pinckney's caught.
I think they're mixing and matching very well, and everybody knows what his job is.
Battle with the kick. And might go dead, this. Well, he's decided to run it out, Savatabua.
I think Fiji, John, are really, they've got to be shell-shocked, haven't they? I don't think anybody in the world could have expected this kind of a performance, because this has truly been a great performance.
Yeah, 4 tries scored already for England, which is the sum total of what they managed against the Australians. Now, this is very different opposition, but even so, they've taken some scoring, and they've been good from the word go, England, tonight. And as Alex Murphy has said, they've been just as good in defence as they have in attack. The ball lost for Fiji. And England are making a substitution. They're going to take Andy Farrell off. I don't think he's hurt by any means, giving him a breather. And they're going to bring on another Wigan youngster, Simon Horton, who has literally only made his debut in Rugby League last season, but has won a lot of admirers early on in his career.
Well, he's got a lot of admirers because he's going to be a world-class player, this kid. And not only has he got ability, he's got tremendous pace. If he makes a break, I think it's good night.
Number 13, Andy Farrell, is replaced by number 16.
Bentley will want to go again. Crossfield gets it away, and Horton is in the action straight away. And they've got to bring him down. It takes 2 of them, and I think there was a tackle there. Yeah.
Yes, I think it was just a bit above the shoulders. I think it was a little bit high there.
Right, Dean Sampson plunders for the line. He's seen Broadbent get one, and he's got a taste for the action himself.
Well, it's not quite in the same class as Broadbent, but having said that, you know, what one prop forward can do, the other one wants to do it.
Golding to Betts, Betts towards the line. They're trying to haul him over. You've got to go over and have a downward motion on the ball. It's no good going over on your back, and Sampson again.
I think that's young Simon Horton, actually. I think he wants to get on the try-score and shoot early.
Goulding with that angle kick, and there are 2 of them racing up. He dives for it, does Robinson. He claims the try. What does the referee say? He goes over towards the touch judge. He gives the try, and Bobby Goulding has produced 2 magical kicks, which have produced tries for Jason Robinson.
Well, I think if Phil Ladd does need any reminding about how good of a player this kid is, all he's got to do is just look at what the ability the kid's got. This again is a tremendous kick, a diagonal kick across to the corner. Watch Jason Robinson. People said, was it a try? There's no doubt about it. He knows, and as soon as he scores, that's definitely, they do the little bit of the celebration, but what a magical kick. A beautiful chase from Robinson. He keeps his eye on the ball. This took some scoring, and he does it in some fine style. That's a great try. Here, I've done it, haven't I?
Robinson's second of the night. He got one against Australia at Wembley, and he's a big hero around this part of the world. But, you know, I think we've got to say that the introduction of Bobby Goulding tonight has brought a bit of invention to the England side.
Well, I must say this, a lot of people have been saying, you know, why hasn't Bobby been in the side? For me, this fella's been playing so well for St Helens. He'd be in any side of mine. He's a great player, and I'd have a little think about putting Shaun to number 6 and playing this fella number 7. It gives us 2 more options.
I've just seen assistant coach John Joyner and manager Phil Lowe go away. They're off to the dressing room. Goulding's kick. The crowd look. Up go the flags. Alex Murphy says, oh dearie me. That's not what those England fans are saying. They're saying, give us a bit more of this. England 30, Fiji 0. A goal, his first of the night from Bobby Goulding, and nobody deserved it more. And the hooter sounds. What a terrific first half it's been for England fans. The tries have come thick and fast from the moment Chris Radlinski got them on the sheet in the second minute. Jason Robinson's got 2, John Bentley's got 1, Paul Broadbent has got 1, and England are very much in the driving seat here at half-time. We've got the views in the studio of Graham West and Colin Welland to come up after this short break. Perfect timing with Bobby Goulding about to restart the action here, and England leading by a magnificent 30 points to 0 against Fiji. Shaun Edwards hasn't had a run yet tonight. He's on the bench along with Paul Cook from Leeds, Steve McCurry from Widnes, and there's Andy Farrell just having a rest. He's very happy with his night's work so far.
Well, I think he was just telling Shaun a little bit of a joke. What he said, did I do it all right when I struck that ball from off the touch? There's a great spirit in the English camp at the moment, and why shouldn't there be, the way they're playing?
Very much so. Tries coming at regular intervals in that first half. Once Radlinski had got England on the board in the first 2 minutes, that was a great psychological boost for Phil Larder's team. And Phil Larder must be delighted with the events of the first 40 minutes.
Well, I think all the coaching staff has got to be pleased. When things go right for you, you're a very, very happy man, as Graham will know. I mean, he's had probably more enjoyment out of coaching than most people this year, but it is nice when things go right. And Phil Larder, John Joyner and Andy Goodway have obviously done a very, very good job with the England side.
The high kick is hoisted by Naya Kakulu. And missed by Radlinski, missed by Bentley. The Fijians try to hack it on. Bentley, in fact, got his hands on it in the end. I
think if Radlinski has got a little bit of a problem, what he tends to do is over-jump the ball. And I think that is just a little bit of, you know, he's too eager. He wants to get to the ball before the ball's actually there. I think he'll learn that through experience.
As you saw from the caption there, Koravata is on in this second half. In place of Dengi. Now Tony Smith. I'm sure he'd like to register on his opening appearance for England.
It's very, very important that England get off to a very good start, isn't it?
Denis Betts out to John Bentley, with the ball out of play. But they've got some great physical presence, those Fijians. They're not going to just lie down and die in this second half, and if they get a try, I'm not suggesting they're going to come back and win it for a minute. I think England have got the points in the bag here, but Fiji are lifted once they do get a score.
I think the nice thing about the performance for where England's concerned is they're keeping the ball alive, and people are prepared to run with the ball, and they're supporting the man with the ball.
There goes Smith, he's very adept at that. I've seen him score a lot of tries going through the middle like that. Draws the defence in, as Betts does now. He seeks to offload. Forced to the tackle of Seru, aided and abetted by Tonga. Now Goulding, he's looked in menacing form all night. Here's a terrific run from Simon Horton. What a try! And the forwards are running as fast as the backs here tonight. Simon Horton, who turned professional last year. He's with Bradford and Bingley Rugby Union Club. He's now Wigan, he's now England, he's now a try scorer.
And if you want to know what Bobby Goulding thinks about not being in at Wembley, this is the answer to the coach. This is what he's saying. Look, I can do anything you want me to do. Here, Simon, just finish it off. And one good thing about this kid, he's got ability, he's got pace, he's got style, and he does it in style. That is one tremendous try. The nice thing about it, just watch a little switch inside. Goulding drew 3 or 4 men across, turns the ball back inside. Here you are, son. There's a gap as big as they can get 4 double-decker buses through there. This fella's electrifying with pace. Look at that, nobody can get near him. It's time to look round and sign his autograph on the ball. Great try.
It took some scoring, did that, even after the pass had been given by Goulding, but it was a great effort from Horton, and now Bobby Goulding can tag it on and make it 36-0. Kicked a difficult one, he's now kicked a much easier one. 36-0 it is.
Well, that's the man, that's the little man who's been playing very, very well with St Helens. He's a great professional little player. He likes competing, and when he's on song, just watch the guys he puts him through the gap. Simon Horton, absolutely loaded with pace, a lot of class. You've got to have a lot of ability. It makes it look easy, but believe me, it's not. Absolutely.
Simon Horton, it's always a great moment to score your first try for your club and for your country, and that's just happened for him.
His coach, the lad who signed him, the scout, says that he's got a bigger future as Denis Betts. Now, that is a magnificent tribute to a kid of 18 years of age.
Just the start England wanted again in the second half. They got the early try in the first half from a Wigan youngster, Radlinski. They've got one from another Wigan youngster in Horton now. I think there's a lot of Yorkshire clubs kicking themselves for missing Horton.
Well, I think there'll be a lot of clubs in the world. I mean, Graham West is in the studio as one of our guests, and it must be like having a diamond in the midst, having to coach players like this. Him, young Radlinski, Jason Robertson.
Oh, dearie me. That was a horrendous head tackle.
I don't think it was too intentionally. Look, it looked worse than what it was. And one good thing about this, have a look at young Samson. He doesn't try to milk this.
No,
it was a bad tackle, it was a high tackle. And really, I don't think it was an intentional tackle. But look at young Samson, it was a hard tackle. A lot of people would have got sent off for that, but young Samson didn't milk it, did he? The kid gets up, and I think that's right. I don't think it was malicious. I think it was just a hard tackle, and the kid just off-putted him.
Cumberwise conceded the penalty anyway, that is for sure. And England have an attacking platform once again.
That shows how much he felt the tackle,
Yeah,
and that could do more damage to your opponents than what he could lying down.
Yeah, Jackson. Broadbent.
He's a big lad, isn't he?
Oh, Dean Sampson is, yeah, he's well named, isn't he? Again, there's no Delilah, that's for sure.
He's been eating 1 or 2 of them Yorkshire puddings over there, hasn't he?
Betts, Jackson, Lee Jackson, who's really come of age in international football. Simon Horton wants another one, he's got the taste now. He's taking 3 of them with him. Like a wild boar going for that line.
Yes,
he's not to be brought down. England are queuing up now. Goulding spreads it wide. Tony Smith, lovely ball. John Bentley goes for the line. It's out to Jason Robinson. He's on a hat-trick, remember. And
I think he's brought him back for obstruction, actually. I think a little bit of crossing here. Jason, what's happened, ref? I think what he said was there was an obstruction. I think you'll see a nice little smile on his face. He'll not be too happy about it.
No, not when you're on a hat-trick.
But it was an obstruction. Watch as the man comes back inside. I think you'll see it's just a little bit of shepherding. See, there's an Englishman just in front there, and that's what Dennis Hale blew.
Glad you spotted it, Alex. 4 scrums won by England, 5 by Fiji. And they've got a big problem on their hands. They're 36-0 behind.
Well, I think they've got a massive problem. They've hit an England side who are really firing on all cylinders. This is a great performance from every single player in the side.
Yeah, they're rampant, and it gives us great hope that we can actually win the World Cup for the first time for a long time. It's been over 20 years.
I think the nice thing about it is if they get to the final of the World Cup, they've got some hard games to come yet, so some great sides left in this competition. Australia will still be smarting. New Zealand are a very, very good side. Don't rule them out. There's Western Samoa, there's Wales. There's a lot of football to come on live, and for the people who've not watched it, go and get it.
Fiji trying to build from inside their own half, but as you see, they're on the 5th tackle. Through for Radlinski. Plays football first. Do the basics right. That's what you got to do. And John Bentley can't get away. Caught by the ankle by Lange, the captain.
Lange.
Yeah, great name that one, isn't it? Call him Lee, Alex.
Yes, call him.
That's his first name.
The coach told me to call him Harry. Harry Lange.
Samson's making good yardage now.
I think
every man jack of them has performed well tonight.
Yeah, I think all the newcomers can be proud of what they're doing. I think what they're doing, they're firing off each other, they're running on the ball, and they're very, very confident.
Betts has found some space to get his man Horton going again. Inside him is Denis Betts, spins and tries to turn away from the tackle. They've about 30 yards to go. And watch out for another Goulding kick. No, it's a long ball instead. Mr. Radlinski out, so Robinson carries on, but there are three of them there, and that will be the handover.
Yeah, I don't think Jason realised that was the assist tackle then, and I think actually Bobby put the long ball out, and I think if anybody to pick the ball up earlier, I think he was allowing for the overlap.
Well, at least he's been unpredictable. He's kicked on 2 previous occasions. That time he threw the long pass.
Well, I think he's having a magnificent game. He's varying the play, and that's what we need. We need people to run with the ball and keep the opposition guessing what we're going to do.
Yeah, he's got to be a contender for man of the match, as Bobby Goulding for me. Broadbent there with that storming try before half-time. Simon Horton's got the only one so far in the second half. And Fiji are about to make a substitution.
And they've also got a problem here where they've handed the ball over in a very, very dangerous position indeed.
Fatabu is the man who's come on in place of Kaunivalu. But let's watch the England action again now with Paul Newlove. Always carries the fight to the opposition. Bentley will want to be involved. Here he is. It's very predictable that as soon as the ball's there to be picked up, John Bentley wants it.
Well, I think he's busy and I think he's interested. He's looking for the ball, and this fella's had a very, very good game and all. He wants to prove a point. There's a lot of positions up for grabs, and if these fellas have a big game tonight, you can't boot them out.
Betts and Jackson, this is a try. Tony Smith, the new boys, the golden boys tonight. All the tactical switches made by Phil Larder, they're all paying off, and Tony Smith of Castleford wears a smile as big as the Mersey Tunnel, because in under 50 minutes England have got 40 points.
I don't think it's the actual try, it's what it does for the kid. Just have a look what a great captain Denis Betts is here. He slips the ball to Tony Smith, he whips inside, and have a look what Denis Betts does after he puts the ball down. This is what a great captain does. Well done, son. He looks round, and who's the first to congratulate him? His mate, Denis Betts. Denis makes the try. A simple run around. Tony Smith whips inside. Great balance, a great little step. And as he puts the ball down, this is a very important try for the young boy. He loves it, he thinks it's great. It's his first try, and he'll remember that for a long, long time to come.
It's England's 7th of the night. They lead by 40 points. If they carry on like this, they would challenge the Australian score from last night. Bobby Goulding to tag on another couple. 42-0 it is.
And there's that little man again, Bobby Goulding. He's also having a tremendous game. I think the nice thing about this is the performance of all the England players. There's not one individual player playing well. They're playing well as a team. Everything's going right for them. And honestly, I think Fiji are absolutely shell-shocked. Here's the run around again. Denis Betts holds the ball. Young Smith is in support. It's a lovely little jive and a little wink. He's gone round there. He puts it down. The thing about it, watch what happens when he puts the ball down.
Lee Jackson's gone off, and witnesses Stephen McCurry is on. There's Tony Smith. A try on his debut. He can't ask for more than that.
Well, I think what you've got to say is he's given us a little bit too many options. He's got that bit extra pace, hasn't he? And he's prepared to run at people.
Yeah, Phil Larder's got some selection problems of the right sort now.
It's always a good thing to have selection problems like that, especially with players like this.
Yeah, Simon Horton had a big impact. Came on as a substitute at Wembley, so he got a little taste of the action there. Samson, he's having a good second half. And Windrew was on in place of Kaunivalu. Betts, and he's had a good second half too, and he's usually in the thick of things. It's picked up now.
I think that's what I'm more impressed with than anything else. I think Steve McCurry's on there. He also will want to prove a point. It's the way they've varied the game.
And the boot ahead might pay off for England again here. It's a difficult one to pick up. And when it is, it's Cassidy who got his hands on it. The referee says play on. Got to be chances again here for England now. Goulding. Here comes McCurry. Here's Pinkney. And Pinkney, if he picks himself out of the tackle, would have been a scorer. McCurry again. Back it comes.
Oh dear.
And yeah, Dean Sampson, he saw his eyes lit up there, didn't he? He saw the gap. He was just unable to benefit from it. Well, that was a poor pass. That's the poorest pass that we've seen in a long time.
The Fiji substitution, number 15,
still play still continues. England still have chances. The ball again from Tony Smith. I think he took his eye off the ball that time.
And I think if Simon Orton had taken that ball, and that was another try, because that was a lovely ball from young Tony Smith. He missed the man out, he put young Simon Orton through a gap, and he just overrun the ball.
Fiji really need a break. It's a little bit like the situation last night where the crowd at Gateshead were delighted when South Africa scored against Australia. I don't think anybody in this crowd would begrudge Fiji a try.
Well, I think one or two of these England lads will begrudge him a try because they'll want to keep a clean sheet, and it's very, very important to players when you do things like that. This is a great professional performance.
Fiji in possession. There's the kick from Nyakalu. It's a good one. Spins away into touch. And that's good rugby league football.
Well, yes, and I don't think Phil Larder realised that he would ever dream that he would be able to make changes, bringing people like Farrell off and making changes, leaving Shaun Edwards on the bench, and actually coming out with a result like this, because the lads have really answered his prayers, because they've gone out and done it, and they're doing it in style.
England's put in. Now then, let's see if they can get a long-distance score. Starting with Robinson. He's such a menace, isn't he, to them?
Well, he's running all the time. He runs through the tackle, and people think he's small, but he's such a strong kid.
Pinkney. It's difficult for Pinkney, who plays for Keithley, of course, so we're not in the first division. He might well be next year, but Broadbent. It's not easy because you're not playing against the top players week in, week out.
But having said that, I think the kid's been very, very solid, and if he gets running chances, he'll do the business. He's got a lot of pace, the same lad has.
England have amassed 7 tries already. They want an 8th. Here's Betts, he's set up a few tonight. They can't just get him down, can they? Goulding. Strong tackle on him. 2, in fact, mainly by the scrum half Tanga. Now the little chip through Tony Smith to go dead under the gaze of Savatabua.
I don't think we could have expected this performance. I think Fiji are absolutely shell-shocked. They came here, you know, with a chance of winning this game.
Oh, very much so.
A lot of good pundits, and myself included, said this will be a close game. England have made a mockery of it.
They have indeed. Fiji, to be fair, they had that 10-minute spell of pressure on the England line when they looked as though they might get a try. But that apart, they've not really looked particularly dangerous.
No, I don't think England allowed them to play. I mean, the difference is the tackling's been superb from England, the running with the ball has been superb, and really they've had a top performance.
The ball went back there, so it was all right for Tanga to carry on playing. There's the substitute, Koravata. Now a little chip ahead by Nyakalu. There's Bobby Goulding again.
Yes, the little man's everywhere. He must be a big, big contender for the man of the match. He wants to prove a point. This kid is saying, well, I'm as good a scrum half as watching the country.
Look at Bentley go cross field, but yeah, Bobby Goulding has been inspirational tonight for England. So has Robinson here. Which way is he going to go? He finds a way some way, doesn't he? They just don't know what to do with him. Finally, they put him down.
I think we'll find out, John, that Bobby Goulding may have got a crack in his jaw there, because
yes, he did.
He looks a little bit dodgy when he...
Broadbent's off again. It came off a Fijian hand, so they'll have 6 more tackles from here, will England. Handling errors 5 by the home nation, 7 by the Fijians. Oh, brilliant play from Betts. Smith at his shoulder.
Well, he's a good finisher, this kid, and he's supporting people like Denis Betts. Denis is all in the ball.
He's in it in possession again. Horton, Pinkney's at his shoulder. Here goes Nick Pinkney. He's a big try scorer, this fellow. If he gets close to the line, he usually gets over it. England queuing up McCurry through the hands of Bobby Goulding. They're in for Newland. Paul Newland, no stopping this chap. He usually gets 1 or 2 every match he plays. He's got a great try-scoring record. And Paul Newland, who scored a critical try against the Kangaroos at Wembley, gets another against Fiji. And England are getting very close to a half-century now.
Well, the most important thing about this, they're now calling this fella the $1 million man, because that's what they reckon it'll cost to sign this fella, £1 million if he leaves Bradford. A lovely ball again from Bobby Goulding. Paul Newland puts him in the gap, and when you put this fella in the gap, There's only one result, and that is a try. He likes it. He's a good player. This fella has got to really be one of the talents of our game. It's a beautiful ball. Bobby Goulding again is in everything that England's producing. Burst two people aside as though they're not were. He's a big lad, Goulding. Newlove, and obviously he likes things like that, doesn't he?
Yeah, McCurry was involved in it too, and he's only been on the field 5 minutes. It shows everybody's playing their parts tonight.
But have a look where the ball went. The ball went in the gap, and people like Newlove, it's in the gap at pace. They're unstoppable.
England are unstoppable. It's 46 points to 0. They lead Fiji. Bobby Goulding's got a 100% record, which he's trying to maintain from not the easiest of positions. Looks as though he's standing for the national anthem again.
Well, the way things are going, he's liable to kick this.
Here he goes. And the groans tell you that he's just missed it. So it stays at England 46, Fiji 0, and a healthy score that is indeed.
Yes, it has actually, and I think the nice thing about it, I think we've seen some magnificent football. This is a beautiful ball again. Just look where Newlove positioned himself. He sees the gap, he goes in between two Fijian players, and like I say, when you get chances like that, players like him make it look easy.
What is nice is that Paul Newlove becomes the 7th England player on the try sheet tonight. Just Jason Robinson's got 2 so far. So.
Yeah. And what we've got to also think about, John, is the man in the middle. Nobody's noticed he's been on the park. Denis Betts, I think, is having a magnificent game.
I think the standard of refereeing has been excellent so far. I mean, Greg McCallum was questioned before the match, and it was said to him there have been 1 or 2 controversial decisions. Well, you always get that, but the overall standard's been very high.
Yeah, I tend to agree with him on this occasion. I think some of the refereeing has been brilliant.
Not the easiest job in the world, and it's such a fast and fluent game. The way these chaps plays it is. Broadbent, he's full of running tonight. He's certainly made his impact, hasn't he? Carl Harrison's position not secure by any means after this showing for a Broadbent.
Well, I don't think anybody's position's secured, and this is what squad football's all about. It's about competing for places, and this is why you have a squad.
60 minutes played, 20 to go. It's the sort of match you don't want to end.
Well, you don't want it to end because there's some magnificent football. But having said that, you've got to feel sorry for Fiji. They just don't know what's hit them.
Another huge kick from Bobby Goulding. Oh, the full-back had spilled it, but the whistle had already sounded.
Well, what he said is that they were offside. I think he's given a penalty or a knock-on. He's given a knock-on from the player of the ball.
Oh, it was a strange one.
Well, I think he had instruction from his touch judge, and that's one good thing about this game now. Not only does the referee do things, there's the man with the flag, and he knew what went on, and he gave instruction to the referee.
Yeah, that was Mr. Byers.
There's nothing biased about it.
No, I thought you were going to say that, Alex. I just refrained. And I think Fiji were very grateful for that. That's Nadruku.
Do you think some of these Wigan supporters, when they was being interviewed on live TV, some give the score 50.6,
yeah,
50 points nil?
They might be in the money tonight.
Do you think Gypsy Rose Lee was in the pub?
I don't know if she lives in Wigan these days. Now then, here's the high ball, kicked by Tanga. And they'll follow it up as well. And Radlinski, he has, as you say, got a bit of a flaw. Oh, if he'd have got that pass away, then I reckon Tonga was a certain scorer. He's the big number 12 who's just out of your shot at the moment. This is Fiji's big chance of a score. They desperately want one, just for their morale, for their self-respect. Always sounds so much better when you get some points on the board. The fullbacks of Atabua.
I think the nice thing is that the thing that impressed me about England at Wembley was the tackling. The defence is absolutely superb.
Yes,
there's no way they're going to let tries in.
Well, there again. Samson and Betts in the thick of things. Scrum half, again he can't get away from Cassidy. Fiji really looking for a score. The kick through might yet favour them. No, fallen on safely by Cassidy again.
I think they've literally run out of ideas, Fiji. They don't know what to do. They've threw everything at England. The tackling stood up. The performance has been absolutely first class.
Yeah, and it's so good that it's going to enable Phil Lara to bring on another debutant in Paul Cook of Leeds, who's about to replace Jason Robinson. Broadbent. think you're right, Alex. I think Fiji really have run out of ideas, and you just can't see where they are going to get a try from at the moment.
Well, England are looking so confident, and when things are going right for you, everybody in the team wants the ball. And it's been a great performance from England. Fiji must wonder what's hit them.
Well, I'll tell you what's hit them. Radlinski and Robinson and Bentley and Broadbent and Horton and Smith and Newland, they've all hit them with tries.
If you notice about one or two of these lads, they've all got to the same barber, don't they? They've
Yes.
all got the same haircut.
Yeah, he's a bit brutal, isn't he, as
well, I don't think they'll have to waste too much money on shampoo.
You don't go to the same fella, obviously.
Well, I've not got that problem, actually.
Broadbent. He's got a bit more hair than some.
That's the first time I've heard Denis Betts, actually. Good tackle, even he's congratulating people.
Cassidy into the gap. Yes, still going as well. Takes a big man to bring him down. England setting themselves up again here. Denis Betts still looking to offload in the tackle. Fiji must wonder, they must fear what's going to happen again. Smith and Horton. Just a little too eager that time to get his pal Sampson in.
Yeah, well, I think sometimes when you try things and they don't come off, one thing you can never accuse people of is trying, and young Simon Horton thought there was a man in support. I just don't think he looped.
That was Kumbuai who went down. Great double tackle again. The tackling exemplary. That was Pinkney and Cassidy. Cassidy's had a lot of hits in this second half.
Yes, and I think the more tackling practice England keep getting, the more confidence they'll have in this tournament, because Australia came over here 4-1 on to win the tournament. England must be somewhere about favourites.
Oh, yeah, well, he's still not sure what to do. What happened next?
Well,
the man with no number.
I think you'll find out that the man with the ball might be right here. This is a very, very close call. Did the ball go over the line? Did the toucher put his flag up? And if he'd have carried on, he's saying, well, I'm sorry,
sure.
Well, yeah. I think we might see it if we have the replay. Just have a look where the ball landed. It's a very, very close decision, this. No, it definitely didn't
go out, did it?
And as a matter of fact, if the lad had played on, I think that was a certain try.
Yes, the ball did definitely not go out, so I'm afraid we've got to criticise the touch judge there for getting it wrong. Now Cook with his first touch of the football in International Rugby League. He's a points machine at Leeds this year, 5 tries and 43 goals, so he'd like one on his England debut. Smith's got one, Broadbent's got one. Here's that man Broadbent now. After the try he scored, he must feel he can run in there every time.
Well, I think he'll be very, very happy man tonight, and it's been a great performance from a lot of these players. Really confident.
Goulding again instrumental now. Horton on the end of the pass.
If you notice where they're playing Simon Horton, I know he plays wide out, but he's got such pace.
Smith, Newlove's in there again. Pinkney just gets the pass off to Bentley, fumbled and away. This man goes this time, and he's got a charge up the wing, and he was taken out there. And taken over the touchline now, Druku. And it might be a penalty against Dean Sampson.
It's 26,263.
And the crowd giving it 26,263.
And I don't think anybody of the 26,000 can be disappointed and ask for the money back. This has been a great game of rugby league. There's been a lot of entertainment. There's been some great performance from individual players. And really, I think the English supporters, all this can do is be good for the tournament.
26,263. Magnificent. And it's all building up so well now for that final at Wembley at the end of the month. And here's a terrific run. Wonderful diving run from the substitute Karavata. Is he going to go all the way? He deserved to do.
Yes, that was a lovely run indeed from Karavata. He was very, very unlucky not to score there.
He was. Now then, Fiji, this is their opportunity. The ball along the line. There's 3, 4 of them up here, and the ball back inside. Oh, it's lost. It's gathered again. They're still keeping it alive. This is their hallmark. And still that England defence refused to wilt.
Yes, that just looks like the Harlem Globetrotters. That's magnificent football. But again, you've got to admire the England defence. It's standing fast on everything the Fijians are throwing at them.
Now the scrum half, switching the play. Oh, and into England hands, and it might be a try, ironically, for England. The crowd say go, 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 and go, going to get all the way. It's a great tackle on him, and Paul Cook, having gone 80 metres, just was unable to go the last 5 or 10. But there might still be a score. No, he's forced into touch, is Bobby Goulding. What an exciting moment that was, though, for Paul Cook, the youngster from Leeds. So close to a debut try.
I've got to think that Paul Cook really, I think a little bit of inexperience there when he got the ball. It was a magnificent break, and I think when you're in this position, instead of running straight, I think if he'd have just veered and weaved a little bit and took the man in front of his ideas of tackling you, I think he would have scored. But he learned from that. He's only a young boy. Bobby Goulding, I think, would have been much better throwing that ball inside. But like I say, that could have been another score for England.
But full credit to Dakwa Tonga for keeping up the chase. I mean, he could so easily have let him go.
Well, like I say, young Paul Cook did well taking the ball, and Dakwa Tonga did well chasing him. It was a great chase and a great tackle in the end.
Oh, and Fiji spilled the ball. And it all came about, didn't it? After Fiji, it looked like scoring themselves.
Yes, a magnificent break from them, and they must be thoroughly disappointed. I mean, look at the tackling. There's some ferocious tackling from England. They've got to be very, very pleased with their performances.
Farrell's back on in place of the captain.
And what a man to bring on, eh?
Absolutely.
Giving a player like him 20 minutes rest and saying, now just go on and do what you do best at this stage of the game.
Such a young England side. Excuse me. These youngsters, Cook and Farrell coming on now. McCurry. Treatment needed for Langi. The captain made his debut a couple of years ago against Papua New Guinea, winning his 4th cap tonight, but going off for treatment. England will have the put in at this scrum, and will clearly have a chance to go up to 50 points here.
It'll be interesting whether we, I was just going to say, it'll be interesting if we work to move from this or put a move on, but obviously young Smith, who took his eye off the ball again, was a little bit too keen.
Both sides spilled the...
It's been a rare mistake, isn't it? It's one of the few mistakes that England have made.
Yeah.
You're allowed 1 or 2, I suppose.
Well, both sides losing the ball. So it's still England 46, Fiji 0, and Fiji's ball. Well, they just got a little bit of a second wind, didn't they, a moment ago, with that terrific break from the substitute. And the crowd oohing there. That tackle, Cassidy.
I don't think there's been any lack of, effort from the Fijians. They've just been totally outplayed.
Now they might have a chance. They're running it through the middle. The standoff half, Naya Kakulu. And he gets it away. That was Vatubua. And they're really entertaining in this closing phases of the match. Back inside from Mariawa. And now maybe the substitute again, Naisoro. Oh, disappointment there, but the referee surely he's going to pull him back. It was a knockout.
Oh dear. I think what you've got to look at is you've got to give them marks out of 10 for trying. I think they've kept the ball alive. They've really give a lot of encouragement to. This is what tells you about the Wigan supporters, and they love rugby league. They are applauding some great football from Fiji.
That's what I was saying earlier. I don't think I know Phil Larder and those players in white and red would begrudge them. Bobby Goulding has been named man of the match. That's no surprise. But I don't think we'd begrudge Fiji a try.
I think he'll be a brave man, Phil Ladd, if he can leave this fella out of the match next week.
Yeah, Goulding stepped out of a couple of tackles. Newlett, rather.
I think every single new player who's been in this side has done himself proud. I think he's done his cause and his selection for the next match a world of good.
Very true. Cassidy, he's had a good game. Continues to have a good game as well. Very encouraging performance for England from a lot of these young players. Phil Larder said he liked the atmosphere in the dressing room after the Wembley win because it was quiet and he knew that they'd only done one part of the job. It's a big job to do. The ball lost, picked up again here by Nadruku.
I think that what that has done is a little bit of sloppy play coming in. Like I say, that could all be down to tiredness. There's 1 or 2 lads, because what you don't realise, this game has been played at a tremendous pace.
Yeah, heck of a pace. That was Dangy who put the last one down.
It's just taking his eye off the ball. It's a lovely ball. He just overrun the ball, and these things happen.
Wayne Drewers on in place of the scrum half Tanga. Building inside Bentley. Cook. Oh, that's good enterprising play from Happy Dengi. Fiji are definitely looking more likely at the moment, and a nice reverse move here. Bit of kidology there to try and get Vatabua in.
I bet he could do with that drink. I bet it tastes like wine. That water.
He took that one beautifully, and again they're queuing up, looking for the ball. They all want the ball. That's the good thing about these Fijians. Oh, it's lost again, but a penalty is going to be awarded against England here. He tried to burgle the ball.
Yes, I think in the last 5 or 10 minutes, Fiji have put a lot of pressure on. I think a try was what they'd need.
And I think he played that a little too quickly.
Well, I think he's took it actually off the wrong mark.
Yeah, I think he
to Denis Betts.
Penalties given England's way. That's so disappointing to... well, it's a scrum, actually. So disappointing to the Fijians when they've had these positions. Just one try for them. They've conceded 8 penalties. Now England conceded 10 for this England's ball.
Oof.
Goulding, still in the heart of the matter. Farrell, back on. He's had a good breather tonight, hasn't he?
Oh, yes, he's a very, very good player. There's been like some great performances. This fella also has had a great game.
Yeah, Cassidy's had a tremendous second half. What a good catch by McCurry. Wasn't a great pass, was it?
Please, if you came this evening on the Walney School coach,
Goulding,
can be picked up at
Horton.
Longshoot Health Centre. The Walney School coach will pick you up at Longshoot. Thank you.
Smith
I
will
think
be glad to have stayed on right through his first international.
Oh, yes, and I think the people who've come to watch this game have certainly got enjoyment out of it and certainly got value for money. This has been a great game of rugby league.
Huge kick up there. What a fabulous game Bobby Goulding has had, and he certainly posted notice that he wants that number 7 jersey for his own.
Well, he said at Wembley on Saturday, Phil Larder told him that he was going on after 10 minutes. He didn't get on the field, but I think he's answered all his critics tonight, and I think he said to Phil Larder, well, drop me if you dare, because on this performance, he'd be the first one on the sheet.
Very astute footballing brain, Bobby Goulding.
There's the New Zealand coach. I mean, it's nice when you can have a smile like that, because everything he's done has gone wrong. So he's got a great sense of humour.
Well, he's probably happy it's less than 50 points at the moment. At one time, it looked as though England might run up 60 or 70, but they've been kept in check at 46 for a long time now. And they've given a good account of themselves in the last few minutes in particular. Can they get a consolation score? That's just about the only question left on the night, I think, now, really.
The winner of today's Halifax Man of the Match award, chosen by members of the press.
You've probably just heard the announcement on the loudspeaker system here. We certainly can. That Bobby Goulding has won the Man of the Match award. There's John Joyner, Phil Larder, Phil Lowe,
And John Keir,
the England management team. A little chip ahead here, and a good chase as well, and he carries on and he kicks, and it might be yet a Fiji score. No, booted out behind the try line by John Bentley, and that's English pride to say, no, you're not going to have a point.
Well, that's a great professional attitude, and to keep a clean sheet is very, very important to these lads. It looks a lot better, 46-0 than 46-6. John Bentley, just a little bit of a slip, a lovely little chip through, but Bentley's back there, and he makes no doubt, if in doubt, put it out.
The difference between tonight and Sunday, when they beat South Africa at Keighley, is that the big second row man, Tonga, who really enthused in everything he did and became a real hero, he's had hardly any running chances tonight.
Well, I think they've not underestimated these, have they? They've took them if they are. They've took them very seriously, and they've come up with the goods. I think if you... oh, dearie me.
Yeah, well, he's spilled a few passes in the last few minutes, as Dengi.
I think that is sheer frustration. I don't think that was temper. It was temper that he dropped the ball, and he's not done himself justice. But they've worked very, very hard, the Fijians, and they'll go home and think, well, we competed at the very highest level.
Yeah, and they've another match to come against the world champions, Australia, on Saturday. That's at the McAlpine Stadium, Huddersfield. England then play South Africa at Headingley.
I wouldn't wish that on anybody at the moment in time, because obviously Australia will be watching this tonight, and they'll be very, very happy and say, well, we'll have to start improving if we are going to get in this final.
Yeah, and England will be looking for a lot of points against that South African side that conceded 86 last night. If they put 46 on Fiji, what can they do to South Africa? We shall see. on Live Sport. It's 46-0, England lead.
You can hear Denis Betts out there, even the referee shouting, good tackle.
Smith, good break, played the ball to himself and made another 30 yards, last tackle.
Yes, and I think what's happened there, I think one of the Fijian lads actually trod on his leg. It might be cramp or it might be a little bit of cramp. I think what he should do is take the ball off him, move away and play it a little bit farther away.
Yeah, that's all they can do. And Goulding again, with that crafty little kick up there. He follows through. The catch is made by the unnamed man. I think it's Koravata, actually, the fellow without a number on his back.
Actually, I think that is an offence to come on a field these days without a number on your back, but we'll not tell the Rugby League authorities.
It's not what he's wanted to hide, I don't think. There's no hiding place out there, that's for sure. It's been a thoroughly professional England performance, and that's what Phil Larder was looking for.
I think the most pleasing aspect of this game is the actual tackling and performance of England. When he looks at that, he'll be a lot more happy. We've scored some great tries, but our tackling has been absolutely first class.
Well, Naisoro here has got threaded his way through about 40 yards. Did really well then, the substitute. One or two of these Fijian substitutes, since they've come on, have sort of been saying we should have been on from the start. To Graham Murray. Naya Kakalu. So on the last one, they mustn't drop the ball this time. He shows it, he gives it, he charges on, and back it goes from Cook.
Young Radlinski's had a very, very solid game again, isn't he? You wouldn't think the kid's only 19 years of age. He's very, very good coming forward. He's great under pressure, and really, he's got to be a find for the future, hasn't he?
30 seconds to go. 46-0. England so much in the driving seat as they've been all night.
I think it must be right to say, John, it must be right for all the people who are watching on live TV. I hope they're enjoying the coverage of. We tried to make it enjoyable, and I hope they're enjoying it.
Mr. Tom Van Vollenhoven meets Billy Boston at the right-hand entrance to the Whitbread stand.
Yeah, that's a penalty. Well, there's an announcement for you. Would Mr. Tom Van Vollenhoven please meet Mr. Billy Boston after the game? Two of the all-time greats of this sport.
Yes, and there's a little bit of, again, a snatch again. I think it was just a collar job, but Denis Betts will have none of that. It's a penalty. I think he actually grabs him. If you watch him, it does go a bit high, but he does hold the collar. Yeah,
that was Sanger too. Here comes Dean Sampson, who's mortally offended that he's not going to try when Broadbent did. And indeed, there goes the final hooter. And it doesn't matter that Sangatu has been sin-binned, because England have won here impressively by 46 points to 0. The Fijians probably very happy that the England score did not get past the 50 mark. The Phil Larder will be very pleased. England's tries came from Chris Radlinski, 2 from Jason Robinson, John Bentley, Paul Broadbent, Simon Horton, Tony Smith, and the last one from Paul Newlow. A thoroughly impressive performance. England get the 2 points and are top of Group 1. Studio reaction coming up in a moment after this.